accountability.
Exhaustion that people are feeling dealing with reparations, systemic racism, institutionalized racism, white supremacy, white privilege, all of the jargon that you tend to expect from.
Then you're winning. You don't need them to perpetuate a cycle. The women can do it for
the black woman, and then before the black man, they'll make the black, after they didn't.
Black women look at black men to this day. You don't have no respect for them. Look at them as if they're not worth anything. And so women have eaten that up and they've swallowed it whole, and they really just want to believe that those men that you chose to make babies with or chose to have relationships with. But that's who the entire, you know what I mean, just thrown in with the others. And so, and black women have just taken that, and now they're saying, and now they're the ones who are saying, oh, fuck.
Welcome to the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. Today we're going to talk about black fatigue. There's a new viral set of videos going out over the internet. I guess the Koons, the black Koons, have gotten the memo that they need to be talking about this because of our racist president that's in the White House. You got to understand what's being done. There's a lot of policies being passed that's going to deeply affect minorities. So they've sent out their black bomb throwers, black antagonists that blend in with us. These are the ones that consider themselves blacks, and they consider everybody else the niggers. They separated themselves from us. These are what you call the gatekeepers. They're doing this for a reason, because they are tired of minorities speaking up about racial biases that has been going on in this country since its founding. It's about to get worse. Not on the level of slavery, but it's about to go back to the levels of the 50s and 60s. So they're trying to jump ahead of the talk about institutional racism and put a stop to it, because a lot of things is finna happen in our government that's gonna be institutional racism. They're taking the welfare, they're taking the Section 8. It's gonna deeply affect a lot of whites, but it's gonna really, really affect a lot of blacks. You see, I don't agree with long-term Section 8. I don't agree with long-term food stamps, but you're supposed to wean people off of it by taking a little bit at a time. And what I mean by that is, when you have a rent, when you renting some property, like a house, and you be in it 5 years, the first year, the house might have been $1,200 a month to rent. By the time your 5th year comes around, your rent might be $1,400. The same way they weaned you into paying $1,400 from $1,200, that's the same way you gotta wean these people off of food stamps. But that's not what's finna happen. They're finna hack and slash a lot of things that a lot of black women need. The reason why I said black women is because they've already trained our society to place black women ahead of black men. So when you got black women raising our children and they gotten rid of the man, now these black women need these products. They need these things from the government to supplement the men. It's a good thing, but it's going to be a devastating thing for at least one generation. Understand what I'm saying? The weaning off of food stamps should be gradually. But the way they finna hack it and slash it, it's going to be devastating to a group of people in this country for at least 10 to 20 years. I want to get into the show and talk about these people, the ones who consider themselves black and everybody else are the niggers. This is really important, people. I do this show for my generations that come on after me. I want them to know what we got and what we've been through in our generation. It's almost like a diary, but it's not a diary that you hide in your drawer. It's one of those diaries that's out there on the net for any young man or woman can read it if they run across it. Because once it's up there forever. You know, whether I make a dime off of this or not, I make money. I don't care about that. So I want my nephews and my nieces and my grandkids, I want them to understand the dramatic things that we went through during our time. So let's get into the show. The business,
The Daily Marcus Gentry.
Hello my dears, welcome back to another video. Have you heard of the term black fatigue? So this is a conversation that's happening right now on TikTok. So previously the term black fatigue was coined by the writer Mary Winters, and within the book she defines black fatigue as the feeling of exhaustion that black Americans feel over having to experience racism constantly within American society. But it seems that people have taken that word and redefined it to be a way of describing the behaviors that people are so exhausted with witnessing or experiencing when it comes to certain black people.
This is the first time I'm hearing this phrase on TikTok, but I could use context clues and understand what it is. So, funny story, I'm scrolling on TikTok, you know.
I want to stop that right there and go back to what the last girl said. Mary Winters coined the term black fatigue, okay? And they've basically hijacked the word. They've basically hijacked the word to have a negative about how people feel about ratchet culture. I'm going to prove to you today that everything goes back to the black woman. This is not misogynistic. This is not some guy needs some kind of therapy. It's not none of that. I'm going to prove to you how our society, everybody else in our society, the men still run the family structure. Whites, Chinese, Japanese, black, except for the black people. In our society, they have placed the black women ahead of us. And whenever a black man pushes back against that, against the grain, goes against the grain, he's an outcast, he's gay, he's a incel, nobody really wants him. You got to understand what is going on in our society to really get this. And now it's really going to hit home when they start snatching up all of these benefits that these women have been getting for the last 40, 50 years. Once they start taking this stuff away, you're really going to get an understanding of what I'm saying. Because they replaced us, black men, they replaced us with a check. So once they take that check away, everything I'm saying in this video is going to be real to you. You're going to see it in our society. Let's get back into the show.
Over having to experience racism constantly within American society. But it seems that people have taken that word and redefined it to be a way of describing the behaviors that people are so exhausted with witnessing or experiencing when it comes to certain black people.
This is the first time I'm hearing this phrase on TikTok, but I could use context clues and understand what it is. So, funny story, I'm scrolling on TikTok, you know, minding my own business, just getting lost in the videos, and a white woman pops up in my algorithm and it's titled Black Fatigue, and I'm like, this should be interesting. Now, this is a creator that I've really grown to respect their videos. Basically, in her video, she's calling out the black community for different ignorant things that we do. And it's not just her. I've seen a lot of white people on this app kind of come out. It's almost like, raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George type of videos, and that's what they're doing toward black people. Here's the thing. The videos that I've personally seen is not racism. It's accountability. It's one of those to where they are tired. They are fed up to where they have opened their camera and they start confessing the things that agitate them about the black community. And because we have gotten to that point, you know who I blame? The black community. I mean, for one, the action.
Now I'm gonna stop that again. She blames the black community. It's not the black community. It's the people who pushed black women ahead of the black men, which is why you have a ratchet society of black people. Is somebody understanding the pattern? Is somebody understanding what I'm saying? You can't blame the black community. All of these young men standing on street corners, shooting up the shit, shooting up the spot, all in their emotions, unable to handle things the proper way. Wait on justice. Wait on certain things. You don't have to do it right away. All of these things are based on emotions. And the emotions come from the black women that they have placed at the head of our households. Can I get an amen? Somebody needs to understand this. Let's continue on.
That they're mentioning is clearly from the black community. Black people in the comment sections are just like, this is racism, this is this, and this is this. I blame y'all. This is what happens when the black community cry wolf or cry racism in instances that's not racism, to where now we have a hard time knowing the difference between what is actually racism and what is actually accountability. We've allowed this to happen because we do not like being held accountable for some of the ignorance, some of the...
That's a lie. We allowed this to happen because of slavery. Because of... I'm not going to even take it back to slavery. Ronald Reagan had a chief of staff and advisors. They told Ronald Reagan that we got to do something about the population, because black population and others are increasing their populations while white populations are decreasing. All of this stuff was plotted out. You got to understand this. All of this stuff that's going on right now was plotted out, but it backfired. So now they're trying to correct it. They're trying to experiment with something else. That's what the whole Donald Trump thing is about. They're trying to go into another direction. After they've done the direction of, okay, we're gonna destroy the black man, take him out the households. We gotta destroy the pimps too, because if you take the black man out the household, black women are gonna gravitate to the nearest man, and that's a pimp. So we gotta destroy the pimp. Pimps used to be like the top dogs in when it comes to the hood shit, street shit. So they took the man out the household. We gotta take the pimps away too. So now all you got is drug dealers, gang bangers, and killers. No pimps no more, because you going to jail for a long time behind that. So now you got all of these women sexually active, sexually promiscuous, in their feelings about certain things, disrespectful to men, raising kids, which mean boys too. The boys turn out to be disrespectful, arrogant, violent. What do women like? Women like nice shiny things. What do these young men like? Nice shiny things. All of it's connected, people. All of it's connected. Even the fact that these people are coming out saying black fatigue, it's connected. They're having black fatigue for something they started. So now they're trying to silence the people like me and this young black man at the end of the show. Y'all need to stick around to watch the end of the show, because there's a young black man on here who talks about this. And he's deep. Let's continue on.
Degeneracy, some of the just plain right foolishness that comes out of our community, we refuse to address it. And when we have people who address it, they are called coons. They are called like...
We refuse to address it because we can't. Anytime you address a woman, you consider an incel, you consider abusive, a narcissist, gay, all kinds of crazy shit. Once you start addressing this shit, if you don't address it from a coon perspective, if you address it from a black man perspective, I'm trying to seize control of my shit. Everything in my house is my shit. My woman, my kids, my property, that's my shit. And when you step up and say, listen, I don't want, everything stops at the front door. Whatever we do outside this house for the community, that's cool. But I run this house. As a black man, I run this house. And when you address it like that, and you're not coming from a coon perspective, they try to silence you. Let's get back into it.
Like judgmental, and so now you have white people entering the chat and said, you know what, we're tired of it. We're tired of being called racist for holding y'all accountable to the ignorant things that's happening.
Yeah, I think she's spot on. I do think that a lot of this stuff is just black people trying to hold other black people accountable for their choices and the way that they behave and the kind of things.
Stop saying hold black people accountable. You need to hold black women accountable. Black women are the raisers of our kids. See, all of this shit right here is going to be flipped back on men. All of this shit that's happening right now is going to be blamed on black men. Y'all got to understand what is going on here. Even this woman right here, and I can tell she's sincere about how she feels, but even she don't understand. You can't blame the black community. You got to start with the black women. They are some of the biggest soldiers in racism. Black women. Let's continue on.
That they do, but you know, holding black people accountable is racist. So, you know.
Leftist who hated God, and now here I am talking to all of you. So, today I wanted to talk about a new medical phenomenon that has apparently taken a...
Now here she go. Here she go with this medical phenomenon. This is not a medical phenomenon, people. This is treachery on a high level that's been going on in this country for almost 300 years. This is not a medical nothing. Let's continue on.
America by storm, and I'm a little concerned, okay, because I'm not sure. I think there's a vaccine for it. I'm not sure, maybe, perhaps, but there's an epidemic that's going around right now, and I wanted to talk about it and maybe give you guys my perspective on this phenomenon. And you may have heard of it. It's called black fatigue. When I first heard this term, I laughed. It is so obvious that people are trying to describe something that they can't actually put into words, and so they go with black fatigue. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it and give you my 2 cents, because I think this term is an oversimplification, but I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let me just elaborate on what this is to begin with. Okay, so black fatigue is the exhaustion that people are feeling dealing with certain types of black folks. And so the exhaustion, I think, is stemming from the last couple of years with all of the super woke black leftist rhetoric that we've been hearing, everything from we want.
What she's talking about when she's saying super woke, she's talking about black men who are coming out, speaking out. They don't want that. They don't want that. So they send the white establishment, I'm not going to say white people. The government was set up for white people, not black people. You got to understand this. They gave us equal rights 200 years after slavery. It was never set up for us. So now that conscious black men woke, what's the opposite of woke? Sleep. So now black men who are woke who have woken up and seen the pattern, and they've seen the ratchetness in these women, and they've seen how these women are becoming soldiers for bigotry against black men and destroying the whole family structure. Everything is destroyed. But now it's affecting white communities because blacks are living in white communities now. Remember what I said. The Constitution was never meant for us. It was meant for them. We were considered slaves and cattle in the Constitution. So now they had to find a way to keep us, even though they gave us equal rights, they had to find a way to keep us suppressed. Okay, we're going to buck break the men, and we're going to place the women at the head of the household because we can easily manipulate them. A few advertisements here, a few girl, you doing good here, give them a little money here, and we can destroy everything. And then you got a few black men who ride with this shit. You got a few black men out here, you know, the almost white type, the Oreo cookies, you know, black on the outside, white on the inside. You got a few black men who ride with this shit. So if you don't ride with this, you an outcast. This is really who they're talking about when they say black fatigue. They're tired of us. They're not tired of the Pookies and Ray Rays. They're not tired of the guys standing on the street corner with their pants sagging. They're not tired of them. Because they know what they can do with those guys. They can kill them. They can lock them up. They can get money off of them through institutions because you got to pay for lawyers. You gotta pay for judges. You gotta pay for fucking turnkeys, security guards. They get money off these guys. They're not concerned about them. They lying. Talking about black fatigue. They're lying. Black fatigue really means they're tired of guys like us, the angry man, and certain other guys in the manosphere that's talking about this shit. They don't want it talked about. They enjoy having the black woman at the head of everything when it comes to black communities. Because they can easily manipulate shit. You got three different segments of black community. You got the rich blacks, you got the middle class blacks, and then you got the Pookies and the Ray Rays. Guys like me that fall into the middle ground, they try to lump us in with the Pookies and the Ray Rays. You got to understand where this is going. The rich blacks consider themselves black Americans. The middle class and poor blacks, they consider them the niggas, the Pookies and the Ray Rays. And it's not like that. The black construction worker is not standing on somebody's street corner with his pants sagging. The black truck driver is not standing on somebody's corner with his pants sagging. We probably had those stages, but once we come out of that stage, we ain't out here like that. But they try to lump us in with that category. They don't want us to talk about this shit. Let's continue on. This is deep.
Reparations, systemic racism, institutionalized racism, white supremacy, white privilege, all of the jargon that you tend to expect from black leftists, where they're complaining about something and putting all of the blame on everything that's external and never anything having to do with the decisions that they make. It's always their fault. And I think people are really annoyed with that type of rhetoric. There are also other people who say black fatigue, but they're actually describing more of the ghetto, ratchet, twerking in the middle of ongoing traffic type of behavior.
Now, who does that? Men don't do that. Who does that? Men don't stand out in the middle of traffic twerking. That's women. Black women. Say what it is. She's not saying what it is because she's a woman and a black woman, and she looks like she has it going on with her life. This is who white society want to deal with, people like her. So when you call out the behavior, call out who it is. It's black women. When you call out the ratchet behavior in the ghettos, and it goes on to their kids, who are boys and girls, the ratchet behavior, it comes from the women. I raised 2 daughters. Both of my daughters are good. They're not ratchet. They're not out here twerking on the street corners. And I'm a man who raised my kids by myself. So that lets you know how serious it is with a black man in the household. He needs to be there. Because black men stop a lot of things that's going on with our kids. Black women have no control. Once a child hits about 13 or 14, a black woman is tired. He can cuss her out. But a black man in the household, you ain't finna come here and cuss your mama out like that. I'm gonna beat your ass. You gotta understand where this is going. All of this goes back. The black fatigue, everything leads back to the black woman. People don't want to hear that because they prop these women up as more than black men. Everything, black fatigue, gangsterism, gangster rap, ratchet behavior, Meg Thee Stallion knees, slut walk, whorish behavior, all of that shit goes back to the black woman. Everything comes in a complete circle and goes back to the black woman. She's the biggest soldier in racism against black communities. Nobody wants to address that. So what they're trying to do is address it in a way where it seems like the black men are responsible for all of this bullshit going on in the community. And that's a lie. It's a lie. Let's continue on.
Which I too am also exhausted with. I have zero tolerance for ghetto nonsense.
And I think it's not just a fatigue from white people. I think other black people that are reasonable, functional adults are sick of it too. Every time you...
Let's stop this right one more time. Here come the Koons. Here come the raccoons. I gotta put these people in here. These are the police officers, the federal agents, the guys in the government, the guys who marry white women, who wear khakis and polo shirts. These are the blacks who have already conformed to white society. These are upper class blacks who look at everybody else as niggas. They look at the poor blacks as niggas, and they look at the middle class black as niggas. It's guys like this guy right here. When you hear how he's speaking about black people, you're gonna really get the understanding. Remember what I said, everything goes back to black women. But you got black men out here who stand beside them because they got it good. They don't give a fuck about nobody else. So you got these white establishment people sending these coons out here talking about there is no such thing as systemic racism. That's a lie. I was in a jail cell when 2 men came into the jail cell. One was black and one was white. describe to you guys what I saw and what happened. I'm gonna make this quick. Both of these men had drug cases. One of them was for cocaine and one of them was for meth. Both of them had stolen guns in their case. One of them had a stolen gun with a cocaine case, and one of them had a stolen gun with a meth case. Now, listen carefully how this went down. Both of these guys the next week went to court. The white guy came back first. He was smiling, he was happy. He said, man, they finna let me up out of here. This is what the prosecution did to him. This is systemic racism, people. Understand it. Listen to it very carefully. The prosecution told the white guy, if you plead guilty, we'll drop it down to a drug charge and we'll make the stolen gun stolen goods, where it doesn't even mention a gun. Because if it mentions a gun, we got to hit you with a Class A felon. The white guy said, okay, cool. He comes back with a plea deal. He pleaded out for the drugs, and the gun case is not a gun case because they didn't log it down as a gun case. They logged it down as stolen goods under $500. Listen carefully, people. The black guy comes back. He's mad. He's upset. He crying. He gets on the phone to call his family. I asked him what happened, because mind you, these two cases are the same. I said, man, what happened? He said, bruh, they trying to give me 15 years. The white guy just walked out of here with 2 years suspended sentence, and he got to go to drug rehab. The black guy, they tried to give him 15 years. He's sitting at cell upset. I said, what the prosecution say? He said he want me to plead guilty to 15 years for the drugs and the gun. I said, what? I said, that white guy over there just got 2 years suspended sentence for drugs and a gun. The difference is the prosecution didn't log the black guy's gun as stolen goods. He charged him with it. And then the feds came and picked him up. That's what you call systemic racism. Right there. And this is not coming from somebody who just talking. This is coming from somebody who saw it in real life, who witnessed it. And you got black agents like this guy right here on the screen. You got black agents like him sitting up here lying to the black population that there's nothing to see here. That's a lie. Let's continue on.
You turn around, they're blaming race on things that obviously have nothing to do with race. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is not a race thing. Caitlin Clark is a baller. Angel Reese is nowhere near as good as Caitlin Clark.
Now I'm agree with him on this. That whole Angel Reese thing, that has been blown out of proportion. That is not a racism issue. Angel Reese is a woman. It goes back to the women. She's ratchet as hell. I agree with him on that, and I will agree with him on some things I agree with. But the overall thing he's trying to say about there is no systemic racism, that's a lie.
Her attitude is poor, right? You look on her social media, she's dressing like she a stripper. I mean, she has no decorum. She's not a professional. She's not mature. She has this ghetto mentality and attitude that is not receptive in the WNBA when it comes to ratings and how they're going to grow and be successful, all of those things. And we've seen the fallout with that Shiloh lady who said the N-word to a kid, which I think she's a complete idiot for doing it. But I think what it does is it speaks to the issues of people being sick of the hypocrisy. You know, you have have Camilo Anthony stabbing a white kid in the chest and getting $500,000, and people are in the comments on the GoFundMe saying that's what he get. They've been doing this to us for years. So when you do this for a prolonged period of time, people get sick of it. And I think black people are sick of it too.
It goes back to what Chris Rock said. You have your N-words, and then you have your black people. And across the...
You see this shit? This is what I mean right here when I say these coons have been given the memo. These coons like her and that other guy and the host of the show, they've been given the memo. The Candace Owens of the world. They've been told we got a bigot president who really ain't into black people or people of color. So he's finna shut down a lot of these freebies. We gotta stop these black men or black people in general from talking about systemic racism, because we finna see it. Once Donald Trump, matter of fact, it ain't no secret, I don't like Donald Trump at all. Period. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing, because now we are finally, in the next 10 years, we are finally going to see who's really responsible for all of this so-called black fatigue. Remember what I said, it all goes back to the women. Who are the beneficiaries of everything that Donald Trump is finna chop off? Black women. Black men ain't going out here getting no damn food stamps. Black men ain't going out here getting no Section 8. Black men ain't going in court after horn for 20 years telling the court system I was abused and he made me do it. Stop lying. It's a lie. And we finna see it in the next 10 years with the shit that Donald Trump is doing. We're gonna see exactly who is responsible for all the bullshit that's going on in our black communities. We're gonna see the gatekeepers can't keep that quiet. This is why they're trying to jump ahead and stop people from talking about it by saying if you talk about it, you're just man, you just talking about that systemic racism, man. You don't know what you're talking about. They're trying to jump ahead of it to silence guys who speak out on it. Let's get back into it.
Or I think most of us, as Brandon said, anybody with sense, we're tired of the N-words.
All right, let me ask this question. Let's deal with the elephant in the room, the question that white people watching this are probably having. Brandon, I'll start with you. Are there more N-words than regular black people? Are we outnumbered?
Well, man, you put me on the spot.
Can you believe this? Let's look at these smiling faces after saying that. Look at these people. This is crazy.
Some people ain't gonna like what I have to say.
That's what this show does.
I'd say, unfortunately, I think that there's a slight majority that's N-words. I think that it's a dwindling population. And the reason I say this, because you can look at voting, and it can be somewhat of a determinant.
It's not even just voting, man. It's the culture. Look, everybody's race has ghetto trash in it. I say this all the time. But for example, let's say the whites. Whites don't celebrate ghetto white trash culture, like trailer park trash, white trash, right? That's not celebrated. It's not pushed in the media. Those aren't at the forefront of movies, music, whatever it is, entertainment. They don't penetrate white culture, and our white kids, you could say, or a ton of white kids, or every other kid isn't watching that, like celebrating it, thinking it's cool, it's hip. But when you take ghetto black culture, same level of ignorance, same stupidity, same getting loud, same thing. People just don't want to be around that kind of person. Unfortunately, in the black community, it's idolized. It's pushed in the media, the music. Just turn on a rap song today. Look at the latest artists that they're pushing. Who's pushing these artists? Who owns these record label companies?
Now, listen what he just said, people. He said, who owns these record labels? White people. White people. White people. They got these sub groups of black owners who still got to answer to the white people. And when I mean subgroups, when I mean sub labels, you got people like No Limit, Cash Money, Death Row, all of these record labels got black CEOs, right? But guess who they answer to? White people. Because No Limit and Cash Money gotta go to RCA Records to get their records out there. Who owns RCA Records? White people. You gotta understand this, people. This is systemic racism. That's what this is. He just asked the question. We gotta look at who owns these people, who owns these companies that's pushing this ghetto shit. But he's not saying it's white people. He's trying to say black people are pushing it. No. Because a white label could tell a black artist, I don't want that. It's not good for your people, man. Come with something different and I'll push your label. He ain't doing that. Let's get back into it. This is interesting.
Right? Who's making these people famous? Start asking questions. Dig deep. Where are these people from?
I believe this. So, right. But, you know what I'm saying? You give me your perspective. Oh, yeah, I am. Do you feel as if...
I saved the best for last, people. I saved the best for last because these are the type of men that they're trying to get ahead of. They're trying to silence. These men right here that's finna talk about how it goes back to the women. And I want you to look at this woman sitting right here in white. She's arrogant. She's disrespectful. And somebody must have told her at the beginning of the show that it's going to be some things she don't like. She wants to jump in and put her sassy mouth in so bad. And you can tell. She's not receiving the information properly. Just sit back and watch her reactions when this black man lets her know what exactly is going on in our communities. Listen carefully. This is very important.
The men, all men, I'm not going to get to black and white, but let's talk now. Let's talk black men. I don't, for me, like, even with my chore, what I'm doing, right, like, by this time next year, I'm giving up reparations. I'm doing a lot in my community, right, and for black people. I don't care, but I'm talking about black people. My whole message point is for us. Now, when you talk about slavery, right, we talk about systemic racism, we talk about the Willie Lynch letter, right, we talk about, the black man is God, right, we talk about, the greatest soldier in a white man's army being the black woman, and the black woman being the pawn. And then they figured out early on through slavery that because they were us, right? But they figured out if we get the black woman, or we get the whole joint.
Oh, and let me just say something right there. He is not telling a lie there. And a lot of people, we speak on it now. If you can get the black women to go against the black men, then you're winning. You don't need them to perpetuate a cycle. Women can do it for them. So they don't really need anybody else to do it. You recruit the black women and make them hate their black men and go against them. It's entrenched. And that's what we see. We see so many women have a disdain toward black men because they don't speak about them in a positive way. It's everything negative. So, and then they move a certain way and they act accordingly when it comes to black men. You don't need white supremacy if you use the black women to do the job for them. But let's continue.
Okay, so
you know why? Go ahead. I want you to explain why. Because I think if you need.
But I get to that, but I want to finish the message point, right? I like to keep it cohesive for myself. I might forget a lot of information here. So, what they did was they made the black woman hyper masculine, right? And they made you and me as we're studs. We're gonna be in the field. We're handy, right? And I think and I'm trying to kind of connect it all because he made a valid point, right? The government empowered black women to strategically move the position of power from the black man, right? So now the black woman in that instance becomes drunk off this power, and then she has a disdain for the black man, and then it becomes perpetuated over generations.
And that's why you got this so-called fatigue. Because look at her face, look at her emotions. All of this shit gets transferred to the kids. Who are the YNs out here on the streets that black people say they're so tired of? The kids, the youngsters, the young niggas, the YNs. Who raised the YNs? Women like her. She raised the YNs. Everything goes back to the black woman. They placed her in power for a reason.
So with slavery, what they did was they take us, they call it buck breaking. They bang us, cut our balls off in front of the black woman, and then before the black man, they'll make the black, after they did him dusty, they'll chain him up, right? Look, they'll chain him up, right? They'll chain him up, beat him within an inch of his life, and then unchain him, and then do that to the woman. And then the woman is looking at the man like, come save me, but mentally he doesn't have no fight in him.
It ain't just that he doesn't have fight in him. He sees that you as a black woman is detrimental to my sanity, you're detrimental to my health, and you can cost me my life and my career. So I don't want to deal with you. You got to understand what's happening. I don't want to deal with you now. So she got to deal with herself and her power by herself and raise her kids by herself, which she can't do. Because we've already seen 40 years of black females raising them kids by themselves. And now they got this so-called black fatigue.
So now she doesn't even have no respect for you.
Oh, child, baby. Listen, he's actually speaking some real truth here. And it's sort of how black women look at black men to this day. You don't have no respect for them. Look at them as if they're not worth anything. A lot of these women have so much praise and admiration for any other race of men except their own. And so it makes sense. It kind of goes all the way back to slavery, what he's talking about, of how and why the women have this negative appeal towards their own men, and it makes sense. It's not something that just happened overnight. This is something that's been set up. Let's continue.
Fast forward to this generation, black women don't respect black men at all. And when you understand that, and it's a lot, so I'm trying to make it like simple, right? Because a lot of people, they respond emotionally and not intellectually, and there's no empathy for black men, there's no sympathy for black men, you don't even love black men. You don't even know who we are. You don't give a about us. Pay my bills, eat my and that's it. Okay, so it's important that black men understand what was done to us and why it was done to us. It's also important that black women understand their position in systematic racism and how they're being utilized to destroy their whole family and the whole community, their whole generation.
Yeah, I think that
everything goes back. Listen to me carefully, people. Everything cycles back to our black women. Everything. The ratchetness that's going on, the black fatigue, all of that shit goes back to our women. Our women are some of the greatest soldiers in systemic racism. You got to understand the pattern that's going on with this stuff. Does our society as a black community have ratchetness? Yes. But who's perpetuating this? Who's pushing this? Let's continue on.
That's very important as well, because that is exactly what's happening. And I don't think that a lot of black women realize how they're being used in that way. They don't realize it. They just think that, oh, black men are just dusty, they're lazy, they don't want to do this. That narrative of black men being lazy and just don't want to work has been perpetuated for years. And I'm not saying that there aren't any black men who aren't deadbeats and who just don't take it against. Yeah, there are a lot of them out there, but that's not every black man. But that's the narrative that's been pushed out there. Regardless, you know, they didn't say some. They made it seem like this is what black men do, and so women have eaten that up and they've swallowed it whole, and they really just want to believe that, and they align themselves with men. Certain types of men, what we would call poogies and ray-rays, who really didn't have much going on with themselves, because that's the type of men that they were attracted to. And they just...
That's the type of men that they raised. They're dating son husbands. They raise these men. It's either they go for the pookies or ray-rays, or they go for top value men who use them up and spit them out.
Believe that that's the narrative for all men, when it's just those men that you chose to make babies with or chose to have relationships with. But that's not the other group of men who are productive, taking care of their kids, who are married, who are doing well with their families. Those men are being thrown into the entire, you know what I mean, just thrown in with the others. And so, but there was never a narrative of, oh, this is black men, this is just what they do. And black women have just taken that, and now they're saying it. Now they're the ones who are saying black men ain't this, and they're just dusties, and they're all just this, and they're all just they're bad. And now they're just pushing it, and they're pushing it hard. And at the same time, they're not looking at how this is going to negatively affect them if they believe it. And then they start to live accordingly and thinking that, oh, we have to separate ourselves from black men, and we gotta be by ourselves. That's not gonna benefit you in the long run. It's gonna keep us, you know, black men and black women separated. It's gonna cause more harm to the black woman, because women don't realize how vulnerable they are, and how even more vulnerable they will be if they don't have black men on their side. Let's continue.
Now, a black man's role is to be the protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer, and leader. I'm a man, protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer. You have your opinion, I have mine.
Right. I'm just giving it.
Right, I got you. You have what you want to put in, right? And so I'm saying protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer, right? Protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer. A woman's role is wisdom and balance. Okay? Now, the black man gets his provision. He gets his provision, right, from God. And what happens is, there's a vibration. It's a lot, so I'm trying to make it simple, right? So, how you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. So when you're around an alpha...
He was speaking right to her, because she seemed to get a little agitated about what he's saying, as if she don't agree with it, but she seems like she got a problem with what he's saying, and he's speaking right to her. You know, a lot of times women when they don't like something, it shows in the way they move, their emotions, how they act, how they they face start frowning, looking around like, you know, like they don't agree with what you're saying. Yeah, he was definitely speaking to her, but let's continue.
That energy, that frequency, right? It can throw some off, because you're conditioned not to even be around that. And then you become sensitized, not desensitized. You're very sensitive to that energy, and then now you don't know how to read that energy. You think he's narcissistic. You think, no, he's where he needs to be to take his place.
Oh, child.
A man is going to try to take his place, period. And the disrespect from some women is that you don't make enough to take your place. That's bogus. That's a lie. I'm a man regardless if I live in a trailer or if I live in a mansion. And that's what he's saying. I'm a man regardless. And if you don't have respect for me because the government has propped you up to make you think like your degrees and the money that you make is better than me, now you done created a society that's destroying itself. And this is where the black fatigue comes from.
Yes, Lord, and that is so true. Tell the truth and shame the devil, because it's the truth. And a lot of women know it. That's why they get in their feelings about it, because you don't really want to hear what a man has to say. And you have a man who's stern in his beliefs, and he's in his masculine energy, and he's not accepting what you're saying, and he's just gonna speak his truth and do what he's going to do, a lot of women are, you know, they feel some kind of way behind it because you want to be the dominant one to get your points across, and you don't want to really hear what he has to say. And women do it all the time. You don't want to hear what the man has to say. You want.
So even if she's Oprah and he's broke, she's going to uplift him through the information. That's the first phase. The second phase is unconditional love. Unconditional. She's loving and she's loving, she's loving, she's loving. Then the last phase of love is tough love, accountability. The problem is a lot of our women are conditioned to lead with the accountability first, and they don't set the table with informative love and unconditional love. See,
this comes off as disrespect and combative
all the time. Yeah. But again, this is why black men need to be in tune with self. And when that woman is argumentative and she want to talk, and every 5 minutes she want to get a word in, and she just can't shut the f up, let her go. Don't beat on her. Don't catch no cases. Let her go.
Let me tell you something. He's speaking. This is some of the best information that I've come across so far. As men, y'all don't have to deal with these types of women. These women have attitudes, and they want to talk, and they want to be in their masculine energy, and they feel like they know what they're talking about, and what you're saying don't mean anything. You don't have to deal with that, because some of these women are very combative. They're very combative, and there's no changing them. You know what I'm saying? There's no getting them together. So you be better off just leaving them alone. But let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Like, literally, let her go. Yeah. And you vet her with your frequency. You vet her with your vibration. I walk in some rooms, and I get around certain black women, and I start talking. They can't stand me. Good. Bye. Good. Bye.
Why is that they can't stand you?
Because I just told you, a lot of black women are not used to a black man that has confidence. A lot of black women are not used to a black man who...
Wait. I just want to clarify. You saying that black women can't stand you because of your confidence?
1,000,000%. A lot of them. I think it's because, hold on, because I'm a op, I'm a blood, I'm a boy, I'm a trick.
Who are saying these things?
We're saying what I'm you gotta understand this is for the camera. I got you, but I'm saying it, right? So you maybe you understand later, maybe you won't. It's okay. I'm a op.
No, just hold on one second. I'm asking questions because we have an audience.
No, for sure.
And I want our audience to understand what you're saying.
They do understand.
No, it's cool. I know my audience. So what I'm saying is that I just want you to kind of be responsive when I'm asking you so that we can have clarity.
You know, I think we have clarity. I think the people watching understood what he was saying. And y'all let me know if y'all understood what he was saying right off the bat. That's how black women associate black men. You don't look at them as a prize or something special. You look at them as like he explained. We understood that pretty well. So there was no clarity needed. We understood where he was coming from. Most people, I'm pretty sure, understood. Y'all let me know if you understood where he was coming from. Let's continue.
The clips that make sense. I mean, I do this all the time. So I'm a op.
Okay, sir.
I'm a blood. I'm a crip. I'm a scammer. I'm a jack boy. I'm a rat. I'm everything but a god.
Everything but a man.
And then they use music, right? They use crack in the 80s to break down black communities. Now they're using music, right, as a way to break down the communities. Every time you turn on a song, eat my butthole is brown, all this, right? Everywhere you turn, it's crazy. Black men are the only race of men that gets publicly disrespected by their women.
I hope y'all learned something from today, man. Don't fall victim to all of this bull that's going around about black fatigue. They're trying to silence guys like him. They don't care nothing about the Pookies and the Ray Rays sitting on the corner. They don't care nothing about that. That's not what black fatigue is about. It's about guys like him who are standing up talking about systemic racism. They're trying to get ahead of it. Because in the next few years, you're going to see exactly what he's talking about. When Donald Trump gets done with the government and some of his cronies get done with the government, you're going to see a lot of women out here, they're already struggling. They're already whoring, getting money to pay their rent by fucking. They're already doing certain things in our society. It's about to get worse. I hope y'all learned something today. This is the Day to Read It. I'm out.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Bring in the business.